Hello and welcome to Superweek TV 2025. We're back.
Hey!
Rick and Fosca, how's it going, guys? Is it good to be back again? New place?
It's nice.
Nice place. Still
nice
hungry?
View.
Great view. and Fosca, you've recently moved to Belgium.
So it's strange to see the new country where I'm from on the screen, but yes, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's super nice to be back.
As always, and great to the team, the production team.
Yeah, after moving, and returning back to Superweek, it kind of gives me a bit of, okay, the word is still there, and Superweek is kind of my safe place.
It is. It's a place where we come back, we know the deal, and we go into the same routine, meet great people, get them in the studio here. And we have also with us is Rick Dronkers, who was here from the very beginning this year, Monday. So you're going to give us.
I've been doing the hard work.
You've been doing the hard work,
yes.
yeah, absolutely. So we're going to. You've got the head start, so we'll get you to give us some overview of the first days. But over the next 2-3 days, we're covering different areas again. And Rick, again, you've kind of got more the technical angle. Do you want to give an idea of the kind of sessions you've got coming up?
I am doing it very spontaneous, so. We don't know what's to come yet.
Would you say it's a surprise?
Surprises. But I will have a bunch of fun talks. I'm going to have some talks also about running an agency. I run my own agency, and it's growing. And there's a couple other guys here who have the same experience. So, you know, hiring the first people. Yeah, that should be interesting. But also, I'm going to do a talk with Matt Gershoff about anonymous A/B testing or privacy-friendly experimentation. And as you know, Matt, he will probably blow my head off with some really hard things that I don't understand, but I will just be nodding like I understand.
Yeah.
I have a talk planned with Steam about conspiracy theories in analytics. I'm going to talk with Krista Seiden. So bunch of people lined up already, and more to come. I think the next 3 days will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. It is very spontaneous how we find people as well over the course of the 3 days. Fosca,
How we convince them.
Sorry?
How we convince them. How we give them the courage to come on our TV.
yeah, absolutely. We trick them into it. Just come through a side room. Let's have a chat. And Fosca, what have you got lined up so far?
So far, and this year it can be tough. It's kind of a lot of changes, and for me, also moving to a new country gave me a handle of changing job, and I really want to understand how other people perceive that or how they move throughout their careers. So I will focus a bit on that, asking people how they get where they are, if they can give tips. So also the next talk will be with Julian and Coquet, and also with a guy I know from Italy who is a freelancer, and it's really an interesting story and can be really interesting to see. And I also want to focus a bit on sustainability. We will have a talk tomorrow with Elena, which is also the last year winner of the Princess Prize, so it will be nice to have her there. And other things that, of course, will come up also during these days, a lot of interesting talks. And it will be nice also to just find someone, as you said, in the room and bring it here and understand what is his point of view or her point of view on something else.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Well, well, I have got been planning this for the whole year. In fact, not that long actually. But I've got at 10:30, I have Eddie May, who is Customer Insights. That's what he's doing at Gentis. And we're seeing this whole movement of using not just a customer base, but a community base. I know that's something you're also interested in as well. But in terms of customer insights, using the insights more for the future of, or the development and the roadmap of the product. So that's a current theme. And I think we've also got Matt coming into that and talking to him about product innovation. How do they innovate their products? Because there's a whole new way that these brands or these these technologies need to actually evolve their products. And as we have, the big Salesforces and the big Adobes out there, they've got their ways, but we also have new emerging technologies that have an advantage because of their size. They can innovate quicker. They can move quicker around changes in regulations and changes in how business operates. So that's really exciting. So I'm really going to be focusing this year on a lot of the MarTech side. Tapping into leadership in organizations is something, how do we get technology in there and get buy-in from the top? And also a bit on the community side as well. And I think that's something we share, is how community is more. We have events like Superweek and Measure Camp around the world where we see the analytics industry is very lucky to have the power of community, where we're all working for the greater good of the industry and for brands. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And again, it's like fishing for us, right? Because we don't have everything laid out in the future, but finding that spontaneous person, that talk, I think is some of the magic that we have and some of the excitement. Some people call it stress. I know Esther probably calls it stress, but yeah. But Rick, you were here for the first 2 days. Can you give us an insight of on what was happening before we got here?
Yeah, let's talk about what you guys missed.
Yeah,
Make
exactly.
you jealous.
Yeah, okay, definitely.
I have my cheat sheet because it has been a lot, mentally and physically. So on Monday, we got kicked off by Julian. I don't know how often he kicked off Superweek already, but I think it was like his 5th time or something, and I think he showed it was his 10th Superweek. So he's part of the furniture of Superweek, so to say.
Yeah.
So that was a great start, and he was one of the first to mention probably the buzzword of the year again, AI. But he brought some nuance to it, right? He nuanced it back to automation, right? And how you can use it in a sensible way, in a non-buzzwordy way.
Yeah.
There was a really great presentation from Paula, who is I want to say the head of experimentation at Hilton, so famous hotel chain. And she showed a lot of great examples on how they are testing and what they are testing and how they're using like qualitative insights to inspire what to test. It was a really great presentation. So that really set the stage. We had Russell from Ringside. He gave a great talk on attribution, on customer lifetime value, basically on doing the basics right, which was very much appreciated in all the noise of new things we could do, like doing the basics right is always important. Just skipping a few, but Astrid did a talk, very thought-provoking on AI. She did one last year that really had a lot of people talking, and this year the same. Like a lot of people were scratching their head after this talk, like, hey, I didn't think about the impact of AI through this lens. So I think that would definitely be interesting to get Astrid on Superweek TV to expand her vision on that. Something that I found really interesting, Till from DHL, he had a talk about running a remote analytics team, which is obviously very different if you're fully remote all the time, if you don't share an office, right? And how you prepare for that, which was very useful also to me, running a remote agency. And we had a pub quiz, and you guys really missed out on the pub quiz. The team this year for the music was Eurovision Song Festival finalists.
Oh, wow. I know, I wouldn't have gone good.
Me neither.
I also horribly failed. I had 0 points, but it was a lot of fun, and there was whiskey involved. So
Okay.
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday was a bit more technical, I would say, which I like, right? So we kicked off with a talk by Maciek. I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong, but about his use cases of LLM, like in practice. That's really cool to see. And then Ezekiel and Matt were talking about bandits, and it's funny because they then tried to make it accessible to everybody, but like the smartest people in the room were like, I have no clue what they're talking about. So it's always good to have a talk that goes way over your head. Ibrahim from Philips was back again this year with a great talk. Dennis from Stape shared his insights on data trends in digital marketing. We had piano. We had first-time presenters Vikash and Florian, who I think were first-time attendees last year, and they took the stage this year. I heard they were a bit nervous, but they did a great job. So that's cool to see, like people who attend and then next year get to speak. There was a panel from the TLC community, hosted by Kelly. And then Jordan and Ellie from Snowplow, they closed off the day talking about server-side tracking and the difference between server-side tagging and server-side tracking, which is very important. People don't realize that.
Interesting.
And we closed off the day in the bowling alley. There's a bowling alley at Superweek.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Exactly. So this is what you missed.
Well, I found the sauna. That was the most important.
There is
thing
still a
to me.
sauna.
Yeah.
It is new. Here is also sauna, but
Yeah.
the last area did not have a bowling alley, and now we have a bowling alley. So we upgraded.
Yeah, and it seems like because things that you mentioned there, particularly AI. I mean, AI in all the events that I produce through the year is still the hot topic, and I think people are starting to trying to figure. I remember a couple of years at Superweek, AI was basically everyone had AI generated images on their slides. I don't know if you remember that one. And now, how is the AI conversation starting to evolve this year at Superweek?
I think it's so there are still AI generated images, but now people are like, here's my mandatory AI image in my slide, right? So it's a little bit toned down from the years before. I think the main change is that people are actually using AI not in a gimmicky way, right? So people have actually found use cases of applying AI in their day-to-day life, whether that's to help them write SQL, which is probably what a lot of people are doing, but also like actually at customers. So it's moving away from the hype into the reality of day-to-day work, which is a good thing because in the end, that's what it's about.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think in the next days, we also have a couple of really nice talk about AI.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see where it evolves.
We will have multiple talks on AI. We're not done with AI. I've seen at least 3 over the next 3 days, so we should be good.
Yeah.
And what's the general feel with AI? Is it a tool still that is taking people's jobs, or is it a tool that's actually helping
We'll take
us?
all our jobs.
Okay, that's
eventually.
great. Yes,
We will be redundant.
That's great. Well,
Yeah, we will change.
They
We
can
will
take my
adapt
seat here, and
as everyone, I think.
yeah.
I think there's so much work to be done that probably we will just have to figure out new stuff to do as we automate the old stuff that we were doing manually.
Yeah, one of the things that I saw was at a conference at Web Analytics Wednesday, Hector Martinez, a guy who I've worked with there, he works with machine learning and AI, and he had a quote that he borrowed from somewhere, and it was, AI will not take your job, but someone using AI will. And I think that's kind of, I mean, this is, for me, working with a lot of text and a lot of content, I'm able to produce a lot more content of, for our articles and for our talks and putting programs together. So if anything, it's making work more enjoyable. Like, we're not plowing fields anymore. All the dirty work is being done. But are you seeing, Fosca, like AI creeping into your work, your day-to-day work?
Yes, actually, it's really helping me a lot.
Yeah.
So for what I see, everything is moving towards this word, and trying to stop it or trying to deny it will just get us back.
Yeah.
What I see, and I think everyone here has more or less the same idea, is how we can integrate it in our day-to-day life to make us a step ahead on the others. Yeah. So really begin to understand that the AI is there. And we need to be friends with it, like our best friend. Because if we don't begin to think that way, for me, we are gonna lose. Okay, maybe find ways to make it more similar to what we do and help us even more and automate those processes that are boring and like trying to maybe focus on those things that we really love to do, strategy or connections, and those things that are people.
Yeah.
Like people and speak with people, because AI is not a person, like it's not feelings and so on. So try to focus on those things that are ours, and try to have AI as a really nice companion that can help us just do those things that we don't like because they're repetitive and boring.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've found using AI as well, A is that helping us do things quicker, but if I take a transcription from an interview and run it through AI, I can ask questions, what was he talking about there? Or it'll bring out a topic that I maybe wasn't listening to at the time. I said, did he really, or she really talk about that? And so what I'm finding, the whole process of processing content afterwards, I'm actually learning a lot more from it, which I find really interesting. So, you know, what about you, Erika? How's AI been affecting you in your world of setting up a new agency?
Well, my AI meeting recorder is my best friend.
Yeah.
There's definitely challenges, right? And we're in the middle of learning how to deal with it. Because one downside is we produce so much content now. So let's just say a meeting transcription that, you know, if you like, are you still going to ingest that content, right? So the signal to noise ratio, it was already noisy and it's becoming more noisier, right? Everybody is able to produce so much that like what is the stuff that you are going to consume? But using it as a guide to understand what an article is about, right? So those kind of things, it's definitely helpful. I think on the client side, what is really interesting is all the customer input, right? So all the qualitative survey responses, these kind of things. They used to be really roughly analyzed, if at all. And now with natural language processing, it is a great way to actually give that voice of the customer, like properly use it in the company and use it to take action upon, because you can ingest all of that qualitative data in a way that makes sense now. So I think that is a great use case that is really valuable. I do worry a little bit about what I said, the signal to noise ratio. It's so much noise, I'm not sure if we are well equipped to handle it all. So I tend, like, if you throw too much at people, they tend to filter out everything and also the important part. So that's the aspect I worry about, like the quality of work. I'm not sure if it's always in our best interest right now. Or I think the technology goes faster than we can adopt. I think that is
absolutely. Absolutely. Or let alone what people can understand if you're trying to adopt it into a client. Yeah. But it's almost like we need to have, instead of 1 hour meetings, 20-minute meetings, and just get to the point rather than having too many points. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah.
So it will be interesting, but there's a lot of smart people here. So
it'd be great
maybe we can learn how other people are using it and digesting all these new tools and new ways of doing things.
And so you mentioned a couple of other things there. Attribution and customer lifetime value. I mean, always hot topics, right? I mean, you know, at what point is a company or an organization ready to be able to start having this kind of insight set up? Are we seeing any progress from year to year, particularly on, say, let's start with customer lifetime value? Is that still, because we're going to more subscription-based companies as well, right? Where and loyalty is really something that is really important for more and more brands, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the importance has not changed, right? It has always been important. I think more companies are achieving a maturity level to actually use it in a meaningful way. I'm going to have a session today with Russell from Ringside and with Dan from the Measure Pod about attribution. And they both have a lot of history working at companies that do a lot with complex attribution, so that should be fun. But I think these are they are models, right? Customer lifetime value and attribution are models. They are ways of looking at reality, and they're, per definition, they are wrong. But the less wrong you get them, the more useful they become to your organization. And I think that's the lens to look at all of this, right? Like, if you can do a little bit less wrong than your competitor, right? If you can do a little bit better than your competitor, that's the benefit, right? It's not about the perfection does not exist, right? We're trying to capture this complex reality of people interacting with brands and making purchase decisions. Yeah. And we try to measure that through clicks and scrolls, which is already very big gap. So it's already a really rough proxy. It seems very complex and very detailed, but it is of course not.
It's only some of the variables, right?
Exactly, right? So until we stick a Neuralink chip in our head and measure our brains, right? Until we get that level of data, we are always dealing with these rough proxies. So I think that hasn't changed, but yeah, our tools become more powerful every year. So it becomes easier with a smaller team to do these kind of things.
Yeah.
That definitely.
Actually, that's a good point. I mean, one of the areas in marketing technology I'll be covering is how, and we have a few vendors here, how are they going to innovate their tools?
I think also that we have almost 2 minutes left or something, so I kind of feel that we need to wrap up.
I think we should then.
Yeah.
Until we get
if
something
not,
thrown at us. We're nerding out too much here.
But yes, I think that we will have both today and tomorrow and Friday to speak about a lot of things. As last year, we will be there. Maybe tomorrow Rick won't be one of us in the morning, but me and Jomar will be the ones that will let you to what happened today. So I think we can close.
Yep.
And we will see in a couple of minutes.
Yep, another
And
coming up.
Sorry.
people should like and subscribe and share on YouTube and LinkedIn and
all that stuff.
X and Blue Sky and all the things.
All the social. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And we will see you all soon.
Yeah.
Cheers.